which leads us to housing. Previous generations, living on your own was something that happened when you were about 18 or 19 years old. Now, many of us are approaching 30, still living at home with your parents. Now parents, believe me when I say this, although it might not seem this way at times, this is not their first choice. In 1980, when most of us were being born, the national average for a new house was $85,000. Now, the national average is $350,000. Many in Gen Y just bite the bullet, buy a home anyways, trapped in bidding wars for overvalued properties, or caught between what they believe to be basic necessities in a new home and greedy developers. The belief that owning is better than renting, and paying a little bit more for something you own is better than not owning at all. So, what does all this have to do with Gen Y being so disconnected? As I stated at the onset, with work, personal lives, social media, there are many things competing for our time. So imagine, you're 26 years old, spent 3 to 5 years in university, graduated, $30,000 in debt, still living at home, making a few dollars per hour more than you were making when you were a student. You'd like to move out, but renting seems like a waste of money and you can't afford a new home. So, what do? You disconnect from the traditional system. You begin looking to do things that make you happy, that will bring you joy. Traveling, shopping, learning new languages, yoga. You begin to redefine who you are, not consciously, but unconsciously. You begin to carve out a place and an identity that allows you the freedom to operate in a world that seems so cruel and unforgiving at times, while simultaneously giving you everything you've ever wanted. So when you hear someone say, hey, well, let's get involved in X or Y community event, or let's support this political party, or volunteer to coach and teach, there's no appeal. It isn't because Gen Y is selfish or doesn't understand at an intellectual level the value of these things. It's that for the most part, nothing in their lives has ever shown them that anything they do will have a meaningful impact one way or another. Part of the larger problem is that we've also compounded the disconnect by failing to teach Gen Y how to communicate. Whether it's text, email, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Reddit, YouTube, there's countless ways for us to communicate. And I don't know if anyone noticed, but I left a mode of communication off that list. The telephone. My point is that we've empowered ourselves with tools that allow our words to travel around the world, while we're losing the ability to have face-to-face or phone conversations about difficult subjects. Not talking about sex, politics, religion is no longer an option. Because if we don't fill in the gaps, the internet will for us. We've always said that we don't talk about these things because it's impolite or it causes conflict. I say we don't talk about these things because we've forgotten how to respectfully disagree with each other. We've taught our youth that being louder means you're right. That power is in the hands of those at the top. That taking a stand means that all those who disagree with you are your enemies. That negotiating is a sign of weakness. That no matter who's in charge, things will be the same. These are the ideas and the beliefs that we need to change, because we're framing the world that Gen Y has to live in. And at some point we have to reevaluate these things. Because if we don't know why we're doing what we're doing, how are we ever going to convince anyone to follow us? When you're trying to reach out to Gen Y, take some time to find out where they're heading in life. Let them know that you want them around to empower them, to give them the skills and the tools to set themselves apart from the thousands of others who have the same education. Understand, you may not work the same hours or at the same pace. You might have different ways of completing tasks. So in conclusion, I've been asked many times how I've gotten to where I am in life, and to be honest, I don't feel like I've accomplished anything yet. I don't feel special or unique amongst my peers in Gen Y. Grateful to have found my path early on, and grateful to have been given an opportunity to pursue it. I am blessed to be surrounded by friends and family that put up with my sports and political rants. Blessed that as I endeavor to take on the seemingly impossible task to become the federal Liberal candidate in Winnipeg South Centre, these same people believed in me so much that all they asked was, what do you need, and when do we get started? I know that I'm not going to be successful without the help of Gen Y. That's why early on, I needed to know who I was and where I fit into the bigger picture. Because I can't lead unless I know where we're going.